Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
D-backs baseball, it's game on again here inside Chase Field. The train rolling along through a 10-game homestand, so come on in, keep cool with the D-backs, although it might get a little hot on the radar gun in here tonight as the Diamondbacks face young fireballer Yordano Ventura, who's up against Josh Colmenter in Game 2 of this 3-game series here on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brentley along the way. Game 2 of 3 here at D-backs and Royals. And Bob, hopefully Kansas City, after last night, is out of offense after some big innings.
It was almost like a starving man that missed lunch and you sit down to dinner and you eat too fast, especially at the top of the order for the Royals last night. They were on fire. A walk, 10 base hits. They drove in 12 runs, or 10 runs rather, at the top of the order, all coming on 3 homers. They were busy. They were on base all night long. The Diamondbacks pitching staff just could not find an answer for the first 4 hitters in that Royals lineup.
Well, tonight it's the Diamondback bats that will be looking for answers against a guy who might be the Aroldis Chapman of starting pitchers. This is young Yordano Ventura.
For 4 consecutive years, he's been voted to have the best fastball in the Royals organization. A couple of different websites, one at 97, one at 98 for the average velocity. He will regularly hit triple digits.
He is fun to watch. He's been a top prospect in the major leagues for a long time now and finally showing some signs here at the age of 23. There is a look at the young Dominican Yordano Ventura. He'll be up against Josh Colmenter. Offensively, the Diamondbacks getting some offense as of late, Bob. For Mark Trumbo, the bat has looked good lately.
Yeah, it really has. He had some timing issues when he initially came back off the disabled list. And don't discount a stress fracture in your foot. Anytime your base is affected, it's going to affect your swing. But gradually has worked his way back around. A lot of hits to the right side of the field. Last night pulled a couple balls hard into left, including a couple of near homers and double to the gap in right center. Really good to see Mark swinging the bat well.
Mark in left field last night. He is back at first base in there tonight behind Josh Colmenter, who takes on the Royals. Should be a good one. Glad you're with us here on Fox Sports Arizona. First pitch coming up. by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Jack in the Box. If the D-backs hit a home run today, score a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with a purchase of a large drink.
Game 2 tonight at Chase Field between the D-backs and the Royals of Kansas City. KC played long ball last night. D-backs hoping to turn that around this evening. No, the Pirates may be long gone, but the bitter aftertaste of that weekend series still lives on. The national media, the Twitterverse, still buzzing about the exchanges between those two teams. Paul Goldschmidt, Andrew McCutchen both drilled in that series. Tonight's starter, Josh Colemanter, on all the fuss.
If two guys get hit and that's all it is, it gets washed under the rug. But with their guy going to miss some time and our guy missing some time as well, maybe the rest of the season, it makes it a much bigger deal. And it's one of those things. It's an unwritten rule. There's no right way to go about it. There's, it's just however each team feels it should be dealt with. And, we go forward from there. And we're going to protect our guys, and I'm sure they're going to do the same with theirs. But it's unfortunate that both guys got hurt out of the deal.
And just the way it should be, by the way, the D-backs chief baseball officer, Tony La Russa, saying the past couple of days he's a little surprised and a little disappointed with all the negative attention the D-backs have received through this episode. Second round, plenty to come your way here on Fox Sports Arizona. Game 2 between the Royals and the D-backs. Nice to see Peralta back in the lineup and Trumbo playing first base and hitting fourth. The D-backs and the Royals. It's Steve and Bob with the call next right here, Fox Sports Arizona.
Field mound. Josh, a no decision in his previous start. That was last Thursday against the Pirates. Gave up just 4 hits in 5 1/3 innings of work, and he's in there tonight against a Royals team that's won 9 of its last 13 games. They are 5 over 400. And only 4.5 back of the Tigers in the AL Central. Tigers are playing at Yankee Stadium tonight. A look at Kansas City offensively here. It's our Tire Pros starting lineup.
That was Nori in the on-deck circle getting warmed up to lead off this ball game. Omar Infante will follow. Salvador Perez hitting third. Billy Butler with a 4-hit night, including a 3-run homer in last night's ball game. Alex Gordon out in left field. Lorenzo Cain in center. Mike Moustakas at third base. Alcides Escobar at shortstop. And Giordano Ventura on the mound for the Royals.
For the Diamondbacks, he's your Arizona Ford starting pitcher, Josh Colemanter. A little less consistent since the end of June. A couple of rough outings over his last 5 starts. 11 hits allowed at Atlanta July 4th, and 2 starts ago did not survive the 3rd at Philadelphia.
Yeah, that was a tough one against the Phillies. Gave up 11 hits in 2 2/3 in that ball game. One thing a little concerning, over his last 3 starts, Josh has given up at least 1 home run in each one of those ball games. Hopefully he'll keep it down when he needs to, elevate above the top of the strike zone when he needs to, and keep the ball in the ballpark tonight.
Game 2 of 3, the Diamondbacks and the Royals from here inside cozy Chase Field. Ned Yost, 1 win shy of 800 for his career as a big league manager. And he's all set in there. 800 game now. Nori Aoki leads it off. Aoki on base twice last night. Of course, had a walk and a grand slam. The grand slam, his first home run in a Kansas City uniform after a couple of seasons in Milwaukee.
Grand slam, the line drive variety, fastball middle of the plate from Bo Schultz. You can hear some of his teammates in that first base dugout yelling, "Get up, get up." That ball needed all the help it could get to get over that fence in right field.
Clemente ahead 0-2. On a one hop to Aaron Hill. One away. Take a look at the Diamondbacks defensively behind Josh Clemente tonight.
Going to see a Kishnik, Inciarte, Peralta outfield from left to right. It'll be Cliff Pennington back off the disabled list playing third base tonight. He'll be flanked by Didi Gregorius, Aaron Hill, and Mark Trumbo on the right side of the infield. Miguel Montero once again behind the plate tonight for right-hander Josh Clemente.
Good to have Cliff Pennington back down there at third base. His first start down there this season. Saw Cliff play third a couple of times last year. Ball 1 to Omar Infante. 267 and 5 homers. Second pitch of the at-bat is popped up in front of the mound. Pennington calls off Clemente. Quickly 2 outs.
I like that. Josh Clemente was wanting to make a play there. I don't understand why. I mean, some pitchers aren't athletic enough to catch a pop-up, but Josh Clemente certainly is, and he was squared up, ready to catch that ball between the mound and home plate until Cliff Pennington called him off. Yeah, so many pitchers will just get in the way or run out of the way, but Josh was ready to make the play until one of his infielders called him off.
Do they do that sometimes just to avoid confusion? Because there was a little bit of a moment there where you weren't sure.
Yeah, it gets back to that old pop-up priority drill. One of the first things you do in spring training in your fundamental drills, shoot some balls out of the pitching machine, different areas of the field, and that one right there, if it's not hit high in the air, the pitcher has to become a fielder until he's called off.
Clemente quickly ahead of Salvador Perez, 0-2. Perez 3 hits last night, including a 3-run homer. He scored twice. Perez homered in the 3rd, Butler in the 5th, and Aoki in the 5th for the Royals. Everybody you talk to in Kansas City Blue here this week, this is the first guy they mention, and they say that guy's special. Reaches down and slaps that foul.
And he's playing a position where you like to have special players. You think back through the history of this great game and all the great teams that had players like Salvador Perez behind the plate. I mean, Jason Varitek from all those great Red Sox teams. Before that, Carlton Fisk, Johnny Bench, Thurman Munson with the Yankees. If you have a catcher who's a natural-born leader on a team, I think it makes everybody around him better.
Saw a flare to right center and a nice jumping catch there by Aaron Hill. A good start for Josh Clemente. A 1-2-3 first, and now the Diamondbacks will get up there against Yordano Ventura when we come back. Chase Field and set to face your Arizona fourth starting pitcher for the Royals. It's 23-year-old flamethrower Yordano Ventura. Elite velocity, a four-seam fastball that is averaging 98 miles an hour. Here's Miguel Montero.
I never see this guy, and I don't know how his estimate is and how much he can last out there throwing 99. But obviously, as a hitter, just trying to get a good pitch you hit and forget about the velo, because honestly, everybody throws hard now, so it's kind of normal.
This guy's a little something extra special, though.
Well, he brings up a good point. Everybody throws hard. It used to be if a guy threw 99 or 100 miles an hour, it was jaw-dropping. But you see it almost every ball game now. You see his arsenal of pitches will rely heavily on the four-seamer along with the curveball and a straight changeup.
Ender Inciarte gets the first look and slaps this one the other way into left. Alex Gordon's out there, though. He's got 3 Gold Gloves. Yeah, Ventura will work on average between 95 and 100, depending on which of those 3 fastballs he's throwing. The funny thing is his changeup at just under 88 miles an hour is really faster than Bronson Arroyo's fastball.
Or Josh Comenter in that first inning, for that matter. Josh's best fastball was 85 in that first inning.
8-8, ERA right at 3.5. Just 23 years old, just turned 23 last month, in fact. Here is Cliff Pennington. Good to have Cliff Pennington back in the lineup. And he's got himself a base hit. Cliff Pennington, his first appearance for the D-backs since June 1st, coming off that left thumb sprain, activated from the DL today. And now he's back after missing 2 months, batting second. Here is our Tire Pros starting lineup for the D-backs.
Seen Inciarte at the top. Cliff Pennington hit over 400 in 9 rehab games. Aaron Hill batting third. Mark Trumbo in the cleanup spot, followed by Miguel Montero, David Peralta, Didi Gregorius, Roger Kieschnick in left field tonight, and Josh Comenter, the right-hander, on the mound for the D-backs.
Aaron Hill steps in. .98, strike 1 to Aaron Hill. Sun setting right behind Chase Field here in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. Aaron at .248 on the year and 9 homers. He is 4 for his last 28 at the plate following a 10-game hitting streak. Well, they call it the Valley of the Sun for good reason.
I think it's more troublesome for the fans right now than it is for the players, although you may get a little bit of that glare in your peripheral vision standing in the batter's box.
Imagine if Glenn Close was sitting out there in left center field and she stood up. 0-2. Bounces that one. Pennington takes off for second. And he's in there. A wild pitch charged to Yordano Ventura.
Cliff got a good jump reading that ball in the dirt, took off for second base. A little bit of a scary moment at the very tail end of this play. It was his left thumb that he sprained earlier this year that sent him to the disabled list, and there's his left thumb jammed into second base again.
Injured the thumb on a tag play against the Padres at the end of May. Wound up needing surgery and missed 2 months. 1-2 misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Aaron Hill. Big Mark Trumbo on deck. Yes, he went. Tony Randazzo down at first. That's the second out.
Just couldn't hold that barrel back. Looked like it snuck out there in front of home plate. They field down to Randazzo, who rings up Aaron Hill for the second out of the inning.
So Pennington's at second, 2 down for Mark Trumbo. Mark at .213 and 7 homers. Really hit the ball well last night. Banged an RBI single off the wall in left field and just missed a home run. And that was in his first at bat against left-hander Danny Duffy. This one's fouled back, 0-1, 98 miles an hour.
Well, as you can imagine, a guy that throws upwards to 100 miles per hour, when he's behind in the count, he's going to challenge with that fastball. You know, a lot of pitchers around the league will throw breaking pitches or change ups when they're behind 1-0, 2-0, 3-1. Not Ventura. He's going to challenge you with that fastball. He likes it.
Yeah, he has developed some fairly predictable pitch sequence patterns through his first full year in the big leagues here. Trumbo just under that one a bit. Some of that seems to fall under the old trust your stuff heading. His pattern when he falls behind 2-0, 3-1. Here comes the fastball. Almost never a curveball or a changeup to get back in the count. It's been all fastball. 96, swing and a miss. And that in some way makes Ventura the opposite of Wade Miley in that regard. The Royals said after last night's ball game that they had a report that Miley throws a lot of off-speed pitches when he's behind in the count. A lot of changeups, and that's kind of what got him into trouble last night. That's if he missed with his fastball or his slider. Ventura is the opposite. He gets behind. Here comes the heat. In the air, right field. Marichka Aoki. Ventura strands the one-out single. No score through one here at Chase. App today on your mobile device and visit your local Circle K for details. With the purchase of a 20-ounce Pepsi, you can win tickets to Super Bowl 49 in Arizona coming up this February. How about a little country breakfast? Here's Billy Butler to lead off the second against Josh Colmenter. Butler, Gordon, Kane, 4, 5, and 6. Same lineup we saw last night from Ned Yost. And this guy was a big part of that. Billy Butler had a big night. And he needed it. 4 hits, including a home run and a double. 276 on the year now. It's 6 home runs.
Yeah, no short stack for the country breakfast last night. Man,
he went all in.
Yes, he did.
And the French toast.
And the biscuits and gravy.
Scored twice, drove in 3, doubled, homered. And he's been hearing it a little bit about his lack of production this year. But a big night last night. Says he's been grinding it out, and there'll be some production soon, and that was the case in the series opener here.
He's a guy that tries to get every bit of leverage out of that bat. You'll notice that left hand, the little finger curled down over the knob of the bat, trying to get as much leverage as possible.
You mean like with your wrists, or flicking it like a...
Just it's hard to describe, but you know, you choke up on the bat and you've got that little bit of the handle that hangs out the bottom of your hand, and it just it's like a fulcrum effect. I'm not real good at physics, but guys that really want to get the most leverage out of the length of that bat, they usually sneak that little finger, sometimes 2 fingers, over the knob of the bat. Yeah, I don't know physics. I'm getting way out of my league.
You
now.
dropped a fulcrum. I thought that was impressive.
Well,
not a word that comes up in a baseball broadcast often.
I would hope not.
2-2. Threw that one up and in on his fulcrum. Slaps that fella.
Green fulcrum.
Well,
and
4
once
to
again,
6.
talking about the physics of baseball, I would highly recommend to any fan, if you really want to get into the details of the physics of the game, Robert Adair wrote a tremendous book called The Physics of Baseball. It talks about corked bats. It talks about why curveballs break. It talks about all kinds of things involved in the game of baseball from a physics standpoint.
In the air to right, Peralta's out there, and he's got it on the track. David Peralta. Bob, you have said you have seen some improvement from him defensively.
He's getting better jumps on the ball. The initial 2 or 3 steps, taking better lines to the ball. Had to make a little bit of an adjustment right at the tail end of this one, but at least he's putting himself in a better position to make those adjustments and make the plays. And that doesn't come by magic dust. That comes from getting out here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with Dave McKay and hitting fungo after fungo after fungo to his right, to his left, over his head, in front. That's how you get better as an outfielder.
And that is not an issue for this young man who was just so thrilled to be here. And everyone thrilled for him in the start he's had here in the big leagues. Alex Gordon. There's a strike, 1-1. Gordon 275 and 9 homers. About, well, exactly, in fact, 30 points better against right-hand pitchers than lefties. As you would imagine for a left-hand hitter. This one is a bouncer to second. Aaron Hill has it. 5 up, 5 down so far for Colementor. And he'll work to Lorenzo Cain with 2 outs.
Center fielder number 6, Lorenzo Cain.
Lorenzo Cain, 305, 3 homers. On base twice last night with a single and a walk. Also stole a base and drove in a run with a sac fly. So he had a good night. He's hit in 3 straight. Drops that one into short right center for a 2-out single. And good speed on the bases for the Royals.
Third baseman number 8, Mike Moustakas.
Just a little bit down near the trademark. There's a sweet spot about halfway between the trademark of the bat and the very top of the bat. And somewhere in the middle there is the absolute sweet spot of the bat. That ball a little bit down toward the trademark, turning it into a soft line drive into right field.
Mike Moustakas, the third baseman. You gotta watch out with Cain down there. 16 of 19 in his stolen base attempts. Moustakas 1 for 5 last night with a single. At 191 on the year, only 3 hits in his last 28 at bats.
Yeah, this is a guy that scares me a little bit in this Royals lineup tonight. We talked about him last night having a slider speed bat. Has a lot of trouble catching up to good fastballs in the mid-90s, and obviously Josh Colementor doesn't throw a fastball in the mid-90s. His fastball sits in the high 80s, which is right about in the middle of Mike Moustakas' swing path.
He got off to a horrible start this year. He opened the season in a 4 for 40 slump and is still trying to dig his way out. In fact, he was struggling so badly that the Royals had to send him down to the minor leagues in May. His average had dipped below 150. He missed 10 big league games, had a bunch at AAA Omaha, but was only down there for 8 games. They had some injuries and had to bring him back up sooner than they'd planned. And so Moustakas came back on June the 1st, and since he's been back for the minor leagues, he's hit just about 220. So there has been some improvement. But this is a big part of their offense, the 2nd overall pick in the 07 draft, and so far it's not working out. Josh is behind here 2-0. Alcides Escobar is on deck. Hashtag Tomahawk on the Twitter. Well, Josh, in his previous start Thursday against the Pirates, had a rocky second inning then, too. He had a pair of walks, 2 runs allowed in that second. And that's been a familiar pattern with Josh this year. He's fallen into trouble early. In fact, of the 59 runs that Josh Colmenter has allowed this year, 38 of them, well over half, have come in the first 3 innings of a ball game. 3-1 now. So if he has early success and gets through the first 3 innings, he's usually almost always able to carry that through the entire start.
That last pitch from Josh Colmenter, a 3-0 fastball right down the middle, and you get a check swing. That tells you a guy is really in his own head up there in that batter's box. Either swing at it or take it.
He swings at that one and knocks it over Peralta's head. And gone for a home run. You said it, Bob. You're a little worried about Mike Moustakas. And that's his 14th. Quickly 2-0 Royals.
We saw Moustakas during batting practice today. And obviously in batting practice, the coach is just laying it in there trying to let guys build their confidence before the ball game. But Moustakas was putting on a show. After the check swing on the 3-0 pitch, gets a fastball down and out over the plate where he can extend his arms. And we mentioned the speed right in the middle of his bat speed. And screaming line drive over that wall in right field.
And this D-backs fan wants no part of that.
One hopper back to the cutoff, man. That's one of the better throws we've seen from the outfield this year.
Alcides Escobar. In the air, right center field. Peralta and Inciarte are out there. It'll be David Peralta. That's the end of the inning. But once again, early trouble for Josh Colmenter as the home run bug bites the Diamondbacks. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. We'll see Montero, Peralta, Gregorius in the second. Start Thursday at Kauffman Stadium against the Twins. Gave up only 5 hits in 7 innings, had 7 strikeouts, and now he's got a 2-0 lead here at Chase Field as Miguel Montero leads off the D-backs second. Miggy 255 and 11 homers, sitting on 59 RBIs. And the Royals have kind of a shift, I guess. You've got Infante playing where you might play your second baseman if the shift was on, but he's the only guy that is in a slightly different spot. So Miggy takes it the other way and knocks it into left center. That is off the wall, and And Montero is in at second with a leadoff double, his 18th double.
That's the way you attack a hard thrower on the mound. Don't try to swing as hard as he's throwing. Just try to get the barrel of the bat on the ball and let it go wherever it goes. This time perfectly splits the gap in left center field for a leadoff double.
Miggy had a double last night, was 1 for 3, and he's got a 2-bagger to open up the second. And here's David Peralta. David flied out in a pinch hit appearance in the 9th inning last night. 97 misses, and it's 1-0. Peralta 311 on the year and 4 homers. There's an off-speed pitch from Yordano Ventura.
At 86, straight changeup.
Now look at Fox Sports' Phantom Cam. Two and one. Peralta this year hitting almost .330 against right-hand pitchers. Bounce to first. It backs up Butler. Ventura covers. Montero to third. 1 away.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Didi Gregorius. Didi had 1 at bat after coming into last night's ball game in the 8th inning. It was an RBI ground out. 254 on the year and 4 homers. He drove in a run last night, but had a 5-game hit streak snap. The bat has really come around lately. 99 miles an hour, 0-1.
7 batters into the game for the Diamondbacks. Every hitter has seen a first pitch fastball. We mentioned it before. When he's behind in the count, he likes his fastball, and to start the sequence, he likes to try to jump ahead with that fastball. Hopefully the D-backs will be able to take advantage of that.
Well, Dave Eiland is the Royals pitching coach, and he was saying not too long ago, you media guys, you analysts, you get all enthralled because he throws 100. You think he should be striking out 10 guys a game. But Eiland says, look, the league is making an adjustment here to Ventura, just like for anyone else. And for Eiland, Ventura's success, he says, depends on the command of the curveball, not something you hear about or read about when you look at Ventura. Obviously, he throws 100 miles an hour. Everybody falls in love with that. But if he's commanding his curveball for strikes, he can then expand the zone with that. That one kicks away. Or did it hit Didi?
I think it's a strike 3.
Dana DeMuth behind the plate.
Keep running.
Now he's going to confer with Jim Wolf down at third. Here comes Tony Randazzo. In fact, they're all going to come in now. What'd you have?
Well, it looked like a swing and a miss at a ball in the dirt. Perez, I think, assumed that Didi fouled that ball. He didn't even bother to chase as it went to the backstop. I don't know. It looked like he may have just gotten a piece of that one. I have to believe it was a foul. Normally a catcher, if there's a swing and a miss, will immediately get to his feet and chase that ball down. But you can see by Perez's reaction, he felt it was a foul ball. Miggy did the right thing until somebody tells you to stop. Come in and get on the plate. They're going to call it a foul ball. It's tough to tell, but I think this is the right call, just based on the reaction of everybody at home plate right there. Didi did not immediately run. Perez did not immediately pursue that ball to the backstop, which tells me they both felt it was a foul ball.
And so Montero will have to come back out of the dugout and go to third. Let's see if we can hear anything.
It's very close together, but there's two very distinct noises there. The little bit of contact with the bat and then the ball contacting the catcher almost simultaneously.
So on the 0-2 pitch against a 99-mile-an-hour fastball up with Montero back on third, and now it's a ball and 2 strikes. Bounces another one here.
You were talking about Ventura's ability to command that breaking ball. I think back to the days of facing Nolan Ryan. Now, when Nolan Ryan didn't have a good breaking pitch, he could still strike out 12 or 15 guys. But when he had that curveball working, that's when he had a chance to throw a no-no.
That was a good example of him being ahead in the count and then going to that changeup or that curveball. Didi stays alive right there. And Dave Island was saying, look, this kid's 23. It's his first full year in the big leagues here. It's a big league learning year for Yordano Ventura. They like what they've seen so far, and for good reason. Montero, the runner at third. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 Gregorius. That one misses at 100, and now it's full 3-2.
I mentioned in the open of the show, 4 years he's been voted the best fastball in the Royals organization. That's kind of unusual. Usually there's a youngster making his way through the organization that throws harder, lights up that radar gun. But for 4 straight years, this has been the guy in the Royals organization with the best fastball.
And there it was. He got behind in the count, went to the fastball, but missed there. And how about that? Didi was 0-2, and it looked like he might have struck out there, but they rule it a foul ball. Now he works a walk. Take a look at this. You're going to see a lot of fastballs from this young man.
Number 27, Roger.
Now, when we say fastball, it's not all the 4-seamer, right? There's a 2-seamer that sinks a little bit. There's the cutter that cuts. The 4-seamer that rises.
I think when he's behind in the count, you're more likely to see that 4-seamer, and the first pitch of the sequence, you're more likely to see the 4-seamer. I think that's a pitch he has the best command of the 3 fastballs.
Well, another left-hand bat in there for the D-backs against the righty Ventura. Here's Roger Kieschnick getting the start in left field.
I had a chance to talk to the TV crew for the Royals, Rex the Wonder Dog Hudler and Steve Physioc before the ball game, and Rex says that Ventura idolized Pedro Martinez growing up, as you can imagine, and he's physically built a little bit like Pedro. He's not real tall. He only weighs 180 pounds, but everything about Ventura's delivery is nice and smooth and easy. It doesn't look like a max effort delivery, and the ball just explodes out of his hand.
Yeah, that's the thing. Some guys that they, throw 98, 99, it looks like they're trying to throw it that hard. This guy, you're right, nice and smooth.
Yeah, some of those hard throwers, we can hear them grunting up here in the press box when they let it go. Just total max effort to get that velocity. But with Ventura, you get the feeling he could add another couple miles an hour at any time if he felt like it.
20 pitches so far, north of 95 miles an hour. 1-1 is a check swing, but in there for a strike. 1-2. Roger 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts in last night's ball game. '98 misses. It's even 2-2. Ventura, despite the electric radar gun readings, has not put up huge strikeout numbers. He's only had 1 double-digit strikeout game all year, in fact. Kieschnick laces that one, and a tremendous catch down there. Doc Rosenblatt, how about that? The glove hand on Doc.
That was a missile.
Absolutely scolded down there. Doc Rosenblatt.
Wow.
Look at those khakis move. Tell you what, the mountain down the other side, Gregor Carr, has got a lot to live up to after that performance.
Wow.
2-2.
I've seen right fielders run away from balls hit that hard.
Kieschnick strikes out. That's the first out here in the second out here in the second.
Well, that will light up a radar gun, those 5 guys. Yordan Ventura sitting at the top of the list among starters in the major leagues this year with the highest fastball velocity. Now that's the average velocity, which means he throws a lot of pitches over 98 miles per hour.
Josh Colemencher will take his hacks with runners on the corners and 2 down. Two is fouled away at 98. Scoring the game. Love to see that. Look at that. Got the little man here. Got the glove. Scoring the game. Wearing your D-backs colors. That's outstanding work right there. Colemencher gets this in the air to right center, but there's Lorenzo Cain. Diamondbacks strand 2, and through 2 they trail it 2-0.
Plate, the big controversy about the plate, just making sure that we're out of the way of the runner and just trying to do our best through our ability to, if that play happens, get it in our favor.
Well, the D-backs always working on something with a lot of new faces in new places. Today the work was behind the dish, working on the tag play. Obviously, it's a new rule this season, 2/3 of the way through the season. A lot of teams still trying to figure it out. It bit the D-backs the other day, but Tuffy, Miguel, and Jordan Pacheco all working on that today. And Bob, as a former catcher, I'm curious, they were talking about, not getting away from the catch point. Obviously, catching the ball is the most important part of a tag play, but, there's a lot that goes on in a situation like that, and if you do your homework, hopefully it pays off. But the key is to make sure you catch the ball first and react after that.
Yeah, and you talk about that catch point. Historically, catchers, if the one-hop throw coming into home plate, if it looks like it's going to take you into the baseline, that's when catchers have gone ahead, blocked the plate, wait for the ball to get there. But obviously, with the change in the rule, you can't take away that runner's lane. So it looked like they were trying to teach the Diamondbacks catchers to hold their ground on the front of the plate if at all possible, make the catch, and then do that sweep tag, all the while leaving the runner a lane at the back of the plate. I've been curious ever since this rule change has happened, and I think I've mentioned it in past telecasts. Mike Scioscia, in his days as a catcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, was the best in the history of the game at blocking home plate. But he always gave you a lane to slide to, and usually the lane was right between his legs. He would straddle that third base line with his legs wider than his shoulders apart. So as a runner, you would look in there, and of course you'd see Mike Scioscia. You couldn't miss him, but you could also see the entire plate right between his feet.
Does that count as the lane?
I don't know, because what Scioscia was doing was baiting the runner into trying to slide between his shin guards and try to get the plate, because you could see it so clearly. But as soon as you would go into your slide, he would drop down to his knees, catch your front leg with his shin guards, and turn your foot away from the plate. He was a master at showing you the plate, tempting you to slide to that plate, and then taking it away from you. But he was giving you a lane the entire time, so I wonder about that one.
And with his size, I bet once he locked that thing up, you weren't getting in there. Narichika Aoki. Let me throw this at you. I had a fan on the Twitter send this out during one of our Diamond Talk radio shows, or as it's known on the street, Snake Talk. That's the first base line. And you've got those two parallel lines there. One is the running lane. And the fan that sent in a suggestion with all the controversy going on at home plate, like to see what you think about this. What about putting one of those lines there down the back portion of the third base line going into home plate, kind of like it is halfway between home and first? What about halfway between the plate and third, only with the line coming to the plate, to create a lane right there? And you've got a definitive mark where you say, look, the catcher cannot stand in this lane. Is that a little too nutty for baseball? That one was right at Cliff Pennington, who was in on the grass at third.
Too nutty for baseball.
Well, it takes a while to affect change in this game.
Yeah, and that would be a drastic change, giving the runners a lane from third base to home plate. But, if indeed the desired result is to avoid collisions at home plate, that would seem to have some merit.
Now, this was the play on Sunday that they looked about, where Gregory Polanco, the Pirates, trying to score from second, and you can see Tuffy stepping in there. Didn't step in until he had the ball. There's Omar Infante.
And the rule states if you have the ball as the catcher, you're allowed to step into baseline and block the path of the runner at that point, but not until you have the ball in your possession.
Going to be a difficult job for baseball to make that gray area a little bit more definitive, but it certainly needs it.
Yeah. I mean, once again, much like the replay system that we have in place right now, it's a step in the right direction. It's going to have to be adjusted and tweaked moving forward, but I think they're on the right path.
The bottom line is it's mission accomplished in terms of doing what it was set out to do, and that's avoid those barrel the guy over collisions.
Right.
Those no longer exist, and the serious injuries that often come with them.
And a lot of people in baseball are calling that the Buster Posey rule.
Is that unfair?
Well, no, not unfair, because that kind of spurred the change that we're seeing this season. I mean, there were probably a million backup catchers that got steamrolled at home plate before anybody even thought about it. But an MVP candidate gets bowled over, and we change the rules.
Said the former backup catcher. Nice play by Cliff Pennington, who's having a busy inning down there at third. Cliff Pennington, welcome back. Diamondbacks trail at 2-0. Photo with the Twitter and the hashtag and the whole thing, AZFanPhoto. Your chance to have your fan photo shown in our game broadcast coming up in the 7th inning. Brought to you by AT&T, and hopefully Brandon Webb is working on redeeming himself after last night. Brenly committee. Thumbs up from Webby. He's locked in. Ender Inciarte leads off the Diamondback third against Yordano Ventura. And Ender Inciarte gives this a ride deep to right. It's over the head of Aoki and off the wall. And Ender's on the run. He wants 3. And he's in there. Ender Inciarte, his first major league triple.
Hit that ball well right over the head of Aoki in right field, who goes all the way back to the barrier in an attempt to make the catch, and then the ball hits the fence and ricochets a little bit back toward the infield. That was a little bit of a risky attempt by Inciarte to go to third base. Aoki recovered quickly, got to the ball. His throw to the cutoff man was good, but the throw to third base was well offline, allowing Inciarte to get in easily.
Anders looked a lot more hitterish lately, to use a Brenly term. He's now hit in 6 straight. Driving the ball a little bit more.
I mean, his game is always going to be spraying it all over the ballpark, but you like to see that every now and then. Go up there and cheat for a fastball early in the count. If you get it, try to pull it hard to right field or right center. A lot of extra bases out there.
Diamondbacks had a runner on third in the 2nd inning, could not get a run across, and now Inciarte is down there to lead off the 3rd. But Pennington is down on Ventura 0-2.
I think of the days when Lenny Dykstra was leading off for the Philadelphia Phillies. In some games he would be choked up 2 inches on the bat, and then he'd come up his 3rd trip and he'd be right down on the knob of the bat looking for that first pitch fastball.
100 miles an hour misses. It's 1-2. '99 gets the strikeout. That's 3 strikeouts for Ventura. 1 down here in the 3rd.
Let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game tonight. I saw her standing there. Now, if you remember the great Beatles song, it starts out 1, 2, 3, 4. Got to control the first 4 hitters in that Royals lineup tonight. And wow, for Ventura, you've got to obey the posted speed limits here in the state of Arizona, son. Anything over 75, we're going to have to take you in.
Well, he is an outlaw out there in that case.
Yes, he is.
That's a Beatles riff. That's big league stuff
that?
out of you. I think that's your best work.
Well, my initial idea was a 1 and a 2. Lawrence Welk. But you know, that's way too far back.
And the 1 with the bubbles and the whole thing. 1-0. Aaron Hill.
Champagne music.
That was a staple at the house. No, that was Sundays, right? Lawrence Welk, yeah. Sunday evenings.
Was it Bobby and Sissy or somebody? There was a couple that was on every week doing some kind of a little dance routine.
And those bad clothes. 2-0. Over the head of Infante into center, and the Diamondbacks are on the board. It's an RBI single for Aaron Hill, his 51st. 2-1 ball game.
Once again, just like Miguel Montero back in that 2nd inning, Aaron Hill doesn't try to do too much. Just get the barrel of the bat on the ball. Ventura's supplying a lot of the power. If you can just barrel it up, doesn't matter if you hit it to left center, right center, down either line. Just get the barrel on the ball and hit it wherever it goes.
That is 1,300 career hits for the D-backs second baseman Aaron Hill. 2-1 ball game now, still only 1 out, and here's Mark Trumbo, who flied out his first time. They hold up the game to go get the baseball. So the souvenir ball is now in the D-backs dugout. See if Trumbo can run into one of those fastballs here. Slaps it into right. That's down the line. Hill can take the turn and head for third. Mark Trumbo, we talked about this at the top of the show. That bat is coming around and using all fields.
Once again, just get the barrel on it. Doesn't matter if it's a hit to right field or a fly ball to left field. Just get the barrel on it. Aaron Hill in on his belly at third base there. That ball just over the head of Billy Butler at first. Aoki got to it quickly. Looked like a good throw to third, but it's cut off there by Escobar. Diamondbacks have him on the corners with 1 out.
3 hits in the inning. Here's Miguel Montero, who banged a double off the left field wall his first time up.
You know, we talked that first time through the lineup. Ventura throwing first pitch fastballs to everybody, and perhaps Inciarte and Trumbo taking advantage here in their second time through the order. And if you pay attention, sometimes you can put yourself in a good situation. If you watch an opposing pitcher and he's throwing first pitch fastball to every hitter, why wouldn't you go up there and start it a little bit early, anticipate that fastball, and take advantage?
And sure enough, to counter that, you just saw Ventura go with a first pitch changeup, it looked like. Here's another non-fastball, and he's behind 2-0. Now, I would expect when he's down in the count like this, here comes the heat.
Here comes the heat. Now you've thrown him off of his game, what he likes to do. Jump ahead with the fastball. You bang a couple of those first pitch fastballs. Now he's going away from what it is he wants to do.
Ranked it up to 98. That was a Miggy 2013 swing right there.
We used to call those showcase swings. 2-0, 3-1. Take your best home run swing, even though you know you're probably not going to catch up to 98 with that particular swing, but sure looks good, and the fans go, ooh. Just a showcase swing. Now put the good quick one on it.
That's on a play, 2-2. Starting to see more off-speed stuff now from Ventura, who's at 50 pitches, 33 for strikes.
That was my big mistake in the 1984 All-Star game when I faced Rich Dotson. I got into a 3-1 count and took one of those showcase swings because we were playing at Candlestick and, you know, the hometown fans and the whole deal.
Let's get the ooh and the ah.
Yeah, but I swung and missed and ended up striking out on the 3-2 pitch.
2-2. This is at 99 and it's full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. David Peralta on deck. I'm going to drive one in here. Four strikeouts now for Ventura. 2 down in the third. And it's up to Peralta.
Right field.
Good location. Tough to hit that pitch down there at the bottom of the knees on the outside corner.
That is filthy right there. Absolutely filthy. Here's Peralta, grounded out his first time. He's got Aaron Hill at third. Hill the tying run. Mark Trumbo the go-ahead run at first. Peralta going to walk that one off. The average had dropped down to 286 near the end of June for David, but over his last 28 games, he's hit better than 330. He took one here. Got to put the pad on the other foot. One of the great rookie stories here in the National League. Jam shot, pop-up foul ground. Perez has it into the screen. That's off the net, so that is no catch. Ruled by Dana DeMuth, the crew chief, and so Peralta's still alive.
It looked like it grazed off the top of the backstop there. Perez stays with it and makes the catch, but once that ball hits the backstop up high, it's a dead ball.
Peralta down 0-2. 99. It's amazing the consistency that he 98, 99, 100 almost all the time. Base hit. Peralta dunks it into left center, and the game is tied 2-2. 2 out hits, can't have enough of them.
Short, abbreviated swing. That's the ticket against a hard thrower like Ventura. We've seen it throughout this ball game already. The guys that just try to get the barrel on the ball have had some success. The guys that try to swing hard and generate power against him have had trouble catching up.
That's 4 hits in this inning. Tell you what, the second time through the order, once everybody's had one look at Ventura, they've had a whole lot more success. Here's Didi, who walked his first time. Aaron Hill, or Ender Inciarte, pardon me, started it off with a triple off the wall in right field. Pennington struck out. Hill drove in Inciarte. Trumbo singled. Montero struck out. Now Peralta an RBI single, and it's 2-2. 4 hits in the inning. Get another look or two at Yordano Ventura, you get a little more used to the velocity. As Dave Island, their pitching coach, said, the league makes adjustments. That's the deal. And now it's up to Peralta to adjust to the adjustments. Or Ventura, pardon me. There's the strike. 1-2 now. Signed by the Royals in the Dominican Republic back in 2008. First, Butler backhands it. Ventura covers, and they get Gregorius. But the Diamondbacks tie it up. Ender Inciarte, a triple off the wall. Aaron Hill had an RBI single, and then later Peralta ties it up, and through 3, it's a 2-2 ball game. .com, all your online local sports you won't find anywhere else. You'll get post-game analysis and reaction from the D-backs clubhouse. Jack Magruder writing about the Diamondbacks taking exception to being labeled dirty. And Craig Morgan has all the latest from Cardinals training camp, Fox Sports Arizona.com. Salvador Perez, the catcher, leads off the 4th against Josh Colmenter in what is now a 2-2 ball game. Perez popped up his first time 0 for 1. An all-star catcher for the 2nd straight year. Swing and a miss. Quickly 0-2. Here's your all-star first baseman, and like Salvador Perez, a Gold Glover, Paul Goldschmidt. One away in the fourth. Second strikeout for Colementor.
Well, they go about it in completely different ways, but equally effective so far in this game. Ventura throws hard, harder, hardest. Josh Colementor, take a little more off, take a little more off of that one, and then take a little bit more off of that one. See the speed range for Josh in the ball game tonight, a high of 86, which has been the changeup for Yordan Ventura.
I'm not sure Ventura's been below 86 more than a couple of times. Billy Butler flying out his first time. It is quite a contrast in style. Styles make fights, as they say. The boxer versus the puncher in this case. Let's see if the mountain can move here. Gregor Carr. Not nearly as impressive as Doc Rosenblatt, but well played.
Well, give me a chance. Hit me a line drive.
Doc still basking in the glow of his tremendous defensive play.
Locked in.
1-1 to Country Breakfast. Mountain going to get another chance here.
Oh, intercepted.
D-back Nation getting them started young. Nice night to be at the RamTrucks.com pool area here at the ballpark. There's another strikeout for Colementor. Back-to-back Ks open up the fourth. You're not going to find any 100-mile-an-hour fastballs in there, but so far it's been very effective with the exception of the pitch to Moustakas.
Yeah, about a 50-50 split between fastballs and off-speed pitches. You can see how that changeup has worked into the arsenal tonight. A very effective pitch for Josh this evening.
Alex Gordon. Gordon grounded out his first time up tonight. Josh Colementor, usually the pattern is if he gets through 3 in decent shape, he's good to go for the rest of the start. Now at 50 pitches, 34 for strikes. And so far he's given up only 2 hits. They were back-to-back in the second, both with 2 outs. Lorenzo Cain a single, and then Mike Moustakas a 2-run homer. Three and one. Two-out walk. That ends a streak of 6 in a row retired by Colementor and brings up Lorenzo Cain.
Center fielder Lorenzo Cain.
RamTrucks.com pool area cooling off. Homestand continues. DBacks.com/tickets. 1 more against the Royals tomorrow night, then 3 against the Rockies over the weekend. Cain singled and scored his first time. Came in on the Moustakas homer. And Lorenzo Cain, at the age of 28, having the best season of his career now in his 4th year with the Royals. That follows his trade after the 2010 season from Milwaukee. He came over with their shortstop Alcides Escobar in the deal that sent Zach Greinke to the Brewers. That was a good trade for the Royals. They'll lose Greinke anyway. They got a couple of big pieces in return. Colementor walked Gordon. Now he's behind 2-0 on Lorenzo Cain after retiring 6 straight.
Basically, that's just a message to hit the reset button. I don't know what happened between the strikeout to Butler and the walk to Gordon, but let's get back to the strike zone here.
Well, Kane is not an easy out these days. He's hit in 4 straight games, batting about .360 over his last dozen. Backs him off the plate, and now Colementer's behind 3-0. Kane might have asked for time there and didn't get it from Dana Demuth. It's in there 3-1.
He's kind of faking a bunt, trying to distract Josh Colementer into throwing ball 4 right there. That's a little league move.
Did everything but spin around in there. Gordon off with a pitch. There's the throw from Montero, but it's ball 4. Alex Gordon's going to need a minute to kind of brush himself off. He went in there pretty hard at second base. Looks like he got some dirt in his eye. Mike Harkey out to the mound now. Colementer had retired 6 in a row following the Moustakas homer, but a pair of 2-out walks here in the 4th have put 2 on for Moustakas.
Gordon's still trying to get the dirt out of his eye out there at second base. Get those hands out in front, sliding through that infield dirt. It kind of throws up a rooster tail behind it, like a power boat going across a lake, throwing water up behind it, and that dust ends up right in your face when you go in head first.
No wake. This is got to be careful here with Moustakas, who homered his first time up. 2 on, 2 out for the Royals. And Josh Colementer just cannot find the strike zone right now. Diamondbacks have the defensive overshift on for the left-hand hitter. Shortstop Didi Gregorius just on the first base side of second, and Aaron Hill in shallow right. Two and oh. Behind 3-0 on Gordon, behind 3-0 on Kane. Now 2-0 to Moustakas with 2 on and 2 out. There's a strike, 2-1. Drop that curveball.
Always effective when you're behind in the count. If you can roll a curveball up there somewhere around the bottom of the strike zone, nobody's looking for a curveball in a 2-0 count.
Moustakas over the head of Hill in front of Peralta. They will wave Alex Gordon. The throw is not in time, and the Royals take a 3-2 lead. Third RBI tonight for Mike Moustakas. He's driven in all the Royals' runs. And a chance of Moose go up from some Royals fans here in the ballpark.
This has been a weird inning. First 2 hitters. Josh Colementer threw a total of 7 pitches, 6 of them for strikes. The next 3 hitters, 13 pitches, only 3 strikes.
Tell you what, for a left-hand hitter, if you're going to hit directly into the shift, he couldn't have placed it in a better spot, right between the second baseman and the right fielder. So it's still 2 on and 2 out. A run in for the Royals, who now lead at 3-2. And here's Escobar, who flied out his first time. Josh Colemanter had really appeared to settle into a nice rhythm, a nice groove, and suddenly the wheels came off. A pair of 2-out walks and an RBI single. More balls than strikes here in the fourth, after striking out the first 2 batters of the inning. Big swing and a miss from Alcides Escobar, 1-1. Escobar had a big month of June, hit over 370 in June, but he has cooled off since July the 1st, hitting under 230. Two balls and a strike.
Where was that?
Dana DeMuth, the crew chief, behind the plate.
Looks like a pretty good pitch from Josh Colemanter. Miggy sets up right down the middle of the plate. A little bit of tailing action right at the very end. May have fooled the home plate umpire Dana DeMuth into thinking that one tailed out of the zone. Looked like it just nipped the bottom.
Dana DeMuth has a tight strike zone. He will not expand back there. 2-1. Out of play.
Late movement on a pitch will fool a hitter, but occasionally it'll also fool an umpire. You know, they track that ball 58 feet up to the hitting zone, and then that last couple feet there's a little extra sink or a little extra cut on the ball, and it can fool an umpire from time to time.
Called strike 3. So Colemanter finishes with 3 strikeouts in the inning. He's got 4 in the ball game, but the Royals take the lead again. It's 3-2.
There's only so much adrenaline you can get when it's not a game situation. I'm sure even, when I go, hopefully to Reno or something like that down the road and get back here, it's even going to be, ticked up even more. So Like I said, I'm just taking it one outing at a time. I'm only looking forward to my next one on Saturday and then taking it from there.
On his way back to the big leagues, Daniel Hudson, our Geico, quoted the game last night. An inning of work in the AZ League, gave up a run on 2 hits, had a pair of strikeouts, and his velocity around 93, 94 miles an hour. He said he was thrilled just getting a chance to be out there. And the big thing, guys, today, no arm soreness or stiffness. He says it felt great. He's anxious to get back out there again, and he's chomping at the bit. I think that certainly bodes well for having a good, solid arm back in the lineup later this season.
That would be amazing, Brad, to see Huddy come back after 2 Tommy John surgeries, and that video is just so encouraging for him. And he and Sarah have had so much going on. They just welcomed little baby Baylor into the world about 3 weeks ago, and now Huddy's on the comeback trail once again and getting close. And so all the best wishes to Daniel and Sarah. We also want to send out some get well wishes to our own Todd Walsh. Todd, a little under the weather lately. And Todd, everybody here, Dennis, Ralph, even I've been given approval to say even Scott Snyder.
Nice.
Says get well soon. Come on back.
Yeah.
Everybody in the truck. Todd's a little bit under the weather, but hopefully we'll be back soon.
We miss him out here at the ballpark.
He's home watching hockey games on the Hockey Channel.
Back to that Daniel Hudson soundbite there. I think the most telling comment was he just worries about his next outing, and I have something to look forward to. Boy, when you're rehabbing from injuries and all you've got to look forward to is another day of an ice bag on your arm and stretching exercises and a little bit of weight lifting, you can't wait to have something to look forward to, another chance to go out and compete. And I thought that was a very telling statement there by Daniel Hudson.
And a long road for Huddy, that's for sure. Getting close. And now it'll be his second existence in the big leagues as a relief pitcher. So all kinds of new challenges for him. Fatherhood and coming out of the bullpen. There's Cody. He and Summer just had their 3rd child. New additions to the D-backs family all over the place. 1-1 now on Josh Colmenter after Kieschnick struck out. Starting him young. A lot of babies in the ballpark
Turn
tonight.
that stroller around the other way so the youngster can see what's going on.
Just got to get some camera time.
Well, my parents took me somewhere and all they did was eat all night. I don't know where we were.
Go Diamondbacks.
There you go. It's got the fan.
Little personal fan going.
Another strikeout for Yordano Ventura. That's 6 in the ball game. Now he's sticking his fingers in the fan. That's not going to work. The kid's got it made. He's got his own fan. He's being hand-fed cotton candy. Oops. That hurt. Just took a chunk out of the chin. Son, don't lean your face into the fan. Here you go, Dad. I'm tired of that.
You think that's funny, Dad? See how you like it. Great to see the kids out here at the ballpark.
Ender Inciarte tripled and scored his last time up. Do you remember your first game?
I don't remember my very first game. I know my parents took me to some games when I was very young, but I remember more going over to the fairgrounds and watching fast pitch softball, 3, 4, 5 nights a week. That was our entertainment.
I do remember going to Fenway Park as a very young kid, and you can't see anything because everybody stands up.
Not good when you're a kid, yeah.
What's going on down there?
Sounds like everybody's having a lot of fun, but I can't see anything.
Back with you tomorrow for the series finale here on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondback Live pregame show starts at 6. Vidal Nuno against Jeremy Guthrie. Yordano Ventura will take it himself. And he works a 1, 2, 3, 4th. We are headed to the 5th here at Chase Field. D-backs trail the Royals 3-2. Look at this t-shirt. This is tremendous. Classic TV night. It's presented by Safelite Auto Glass, and whether your favorite is Miami Vice, Fresh Prince, Magnum PI, the whole thing, you'll find something to enjoy. Purchase a special Classic TV night ticket package, and only if you get the package do you get the custom The A-Team t-shirt. Now that is a must-have.
I pity the fool that don't get the A-Team t-shirt.
I love it when a plan comes together. The t-shirt only available with the special ticket package. So visit dbacks.com/events, and we'll see you here at Chase Field August 29th for Classic TV night, brought to you by Safelite Auto Glass.
Oh, that A-Team, that has a nice ring to it. I like that.
You might be onto something there. One of the great TV themes of all time. Although the movie was okay. And you got who's the guy? I'm blanking on his name now. Bradley Cooper playing Hannibal Smith. I mean, that's, you don't follow in Dirk Benedict's shoes easily. Or he was what was the guy's name? Face on 18.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Dirk Benedict was Face, Templeton Peck.
I had a chance to actually meet Mr. T when I was working in Chicago. He came to sing the 7th inning stretch one day at Wrigley Field. One of the funniest guests we ever had. You know, that rough personality and the voice and the whole thing. And I asked him, you're a big dude. You must have played some sports, played some football or something in high school. No. I said, well, why not? And he broke into a belly laugh. My mom wouldn't let me. She was afraid I'd get hurt. Mr. T. Exposed.
70 pitches for Cole Mentor, 44. Well, Mr. T, a tough mom at home.
Yeah.
Arichika Aoki will step in now. Mr. T had one of the great movie lines of the Rocky movies, Rocky 3, when he was Clubber Lang, and then one of the reporters said, "What's your prediction for the fight?" And he said, "Prediction? Pain." 0-1. Josh Colementor throwing strikes now after a couple of 2-out walks in the 4th.
You got to be careful throwing inside to Aoki. He doesn't make much of an effort to get out of the way of pitches on the inside part of the plate. He's been clipped 4 times this year, but you can see he kind of hangs out there, gets that leg kick going early, kind of leans into the ball.
Right back at you. Well, after the struggle to throw strikes in the 4th, 2 quick outs here in the 5th for Josh, and we'll get another look at Omar Infante.
Hey fans, we invite you to play Kachinko by signing up at one of the 16 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game.
Thumbs up. Infante 0 for 2. He has popped up and grounded out. Trying to bunt for a base hit here. Omar Infante, his 13th big league season. He has twice been a Tiger. Also played with the Braves and the Marlins. And it was a big signing for the Royals. Royals don't hand out a lot of money historically, but Infante is here at the age of 32. First season of a 4-year, $30 million free agent deal. And he's leading the team in RBI. It's been a good pickup for them. Big year last year, hit .318 with the Tigers. His highest average in the big league since he was an all-star with the Braves in 2010. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Colementor has got the first 2 outs in all 5 innings. Bidding here for his 3rd 1-2-3 inning of the ball game.
Boy, and this would be a nice bounce back inning for Josh after struggling through that 4th inning. Got the first 2 outs quickly on strikeouts and ran into some trouble.
Little roller to short, Didi Gregorius, and there is 1, 2, 3 in the 5th. Diamondbacks trail it 3-2. post-game show tomorrow. Executive Week continues. D-backs front office member joins the set to discuss the inner workings of the team and the direction of the organization. Tomorrow, we got some big-time guests coming up here. Hall of Famer and Chief Baseball Officer Tony La Russa will be our guest, followed by President and CEO Derek Hall on Friday. Don't miss Executive Week, brought to you by Gila River Casinos, all this week right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Debbie Castaldo was on there today talking about all her Diamondback initiatives within the community here, not just in the Valley, but all over the great state of Arizona. So Tony La Russa is next up, and then D. Hall. Cliff Pennington leads off the fifth. Cliff has singled and struck out his first game for the D-backs since June the 1st, coming off that left thumb sprain. Just activated from the DL today. Bo Schultz went down to AAA Reno. Two and two.
We're seeing Ventura last inning and again here so far to start this inning, mixing it up a little bit more. He's not just raring back and throwing that 98, 99. He's mixing in some cutters and some sinkers, an occasional changeup.
Imagine with his stuff, if he starts pitching instead of throwing, he's going to be a problem.
Look out. Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 6 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Aaron Hill, an RBI single. He scored a run his last time up, 1 for 2. 98 in there, 0-1. Well, Yordano Ventura had run-up pitch counts when he's not throwing strikes, and when he does that, he's not as effective, can't go as deep in a ball game. So lately, his coaches have been pushing him. Get out there and be aggressive early in counts, get ahead, attack, kind of force the action early in the count and try to avoid those 3-ball counts, and that'll keep him around longer and help the Royals get to the back end of their bullpen, which is a big strength of this ball club. Along the right field line, Orichika Aoki near the seats, but it's out of play. He's at 83 pitches so far through 4 1/3.
Yeah, a little different twist this time from Ventura. He just kind of quick pitches. He doesn't even wind up. Gets the sign from his catcher and just lets it go. Creative out there on the mound now.
Spikes that one. 2 balls and 2 strikes. As we said, only 1 double-digit strikeout game all year. 102 Ks and 121 innings coming in. And that may be mostly because he's had some issues controlling that heater. He's walked 4 batters in a game 4 times this year. He can occasionally get wild on you. Aaron just does get a piece of that. See where he ranks among major league rookies. Pretty good for a kid that just turned 23.
As you can imagine, he was a big time strikeout pitcher in his minor league career. Averaged 4 punch outs for every walk. Better than a strikeout per inning.
100 miles an hour. And that is 7 strikeouts for Yordano Ventura.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have Phantom Cam with us here tonight, and we're going to take a look at Ventura's pitches. This is the 4-seam fastball. Kind of hard to tell, but he's got the grip across the seams as he kisses that one goodbye on its way to home plate. This is the 2-seamer where he's got his 2 fingers on the smallest channel of the ball. That one gets a little bit of sinking action, and you can see the index finger up on the seam of the ball right there. That's the curveball. Leading with the heel of his hand, getting that over-the-top spin that causes the ball to break.
He has now struck out 3 of the last 5 he's faced. Mark Trumbo in there now. Mark had a single his last time up, 1 for 2. 82% fastball. Now remember, there are 3 fastballs in there: the 4-seamer, the 2-seamer, and the cutter. There's a strike at 96, 1-1. Misses with 100 miles an hour. 100 is a number we always hear about with Aroldis Chapman. He throws one type of fastball, but what are the differences here with four-seam, two-seam cutter versus just the straight four-seamer from Chapman?
Well, obviously the four-seamer is the straight. Ground to first base. We'll get back into that next half inning.
Ventura now at 90 pitches as he ends the fifth with a 3-2 lead. By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. Back at Chase Field. Hey fans, follow every D-backs game with MLB.com and bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. You'll get live look-ins, instant replay, score, stats, audio, a free MLB.tv game of the day, and a whole lot more. So download on the App Store or visit dbacks.com. Sixth inning here. Diamondbacks trail the Royals 3-2. Josh Colmenter back out there. He's retired the last four he's faced. A rough patch in the second, rough patch in the fourth. He's only given up 3 hits, but trails at 3-2. Salvador Perez, Billy Butler, and Alex Gordon. The heart of the order here. 3, 4, and 5 of the Kansas City sixth. Perez so far 0 for 2. This is a guy that grew up in Venezuela idolizing Yadier Molina. And says he watched a lot of video, wanted to be just like him. And his teammate Alex Gordon says that Perez is the next Yadier Molina. And I thought it was interesting that Gordon said, you know, when watching Molina play, he said, when you play against Yadier Molina, you know where he is on the field at all times. And that's how Salvi is.
From Molina early in his career, you always knew where he was defensively, but offensively not so much. He kind of grew into the offensive role with that Cardinals ball club, and to the point now where he is almost an indispensable piece to that lineup. They really miss him. I think Perez has been more of an offensive presence very early on in his career. It took Molina a little while to grow into that.
Colmenter at 80 pitches, 50 for strikes. That's fouled out of play, 2-2. Perez, a big night last night, 3 hits, including the 3-run homer. Diamondbacks have out hit the Royals tonight 6-3, but trail at 3-2. It's full. Yes, he went. Tony Randazzo down at first, 5 in a row now, retired by Josh Colmenter. He's got 6 strikeouts.
You got a break there. Butler making his way to the plate here. His first 2 at-bats of this ball game has seen 10 pitches, but he's only seen 3 fastballs so far from Josh Colmenter.
0 for 2. He struck out his last time up. Jumps on the first one, but hits it right to Peralta. And quickly 2 down in the 6th.
Well, very quickly to get back to the discussion we were having about the different fastballs. A 4-seamer, you grip it across the big part of the horseshoe on the baseball. Get all 4 seams working against the wind. That's the one that's going to be fairly straight. The cut fastball, you can use a little bit more finger pressure on your middle finger, and you can slide your thumb a couple of stitches to the right. And when you finish that pitch, that ball's going to have some cutting action away from a right-handed hitter. The sinker, on the other hand, you grip in the small channel of the baseball, put a little more finger pressure on the index finger, and that'll cause the ball to break down and in slightly to a right-handed hitter. The whole idea is not necessarily to get a swing and a miss, it's to get weak contact.
Like that. Roller to second. Colmenter works a 1-2-3 6th. He has retired 7 in a row. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Diamondbacks trail at 3-2, but they've got Montero, Peralta, and Gregorius due up.
You are visual learners, so we're going to show you the difference in the 3 fastballs that we were talking about in that last half inning. Big part of the horseshoe right there, across the horseshoe, that's the 4-seam fastball right there. A cut fastball, if you look at my thumb, guys just slide their thumb over a couple of stitches on the baseball, causing it to come out with a slight tilt. That'll make the ball move away from a right-handed hitter ever so slightly. And slapped into left field for a base hit. Miguel Montero with a second knock of the ball game. And then finally, the 2-seamer, the small channel of the seams right there. Pitcher grips it across there. Some guys will even slide their thumb up on this side of the baseball. A lot of finger pressure on the index finger, and that causes the ball to have a different rotation and break down and into a right-handed hitter. It's all called a fastball, but they do 3 different things.
Is that 2-seam grip the same for a sinker grip?
Yeah, the 2-seamer and the sinker is basically the same pitch. Some guys can get a little more downward action than others, but the 2-seamer and the sinker are interchangeable.
Peralta smacks that one into center, and the Diamondbacks, after Ventura had retired 7 in a row, have back-to-back singles to open up the 6th. Another multi-hit game for David Peralta, the 23rd of his career in 53 games.
The great Mariano Rivera, we're talking about his cutter. It was a pitch that kind of evolved over the early part of his career, but he talked about moving his thumb underneath the baseball. He'd move it one stitch at a time and see what the ball did. Then he'd move his thumb another stitch and see what the ball did. And eventually, he said it was about 3.5 or 4 stitches he would move his thumb to the right to get that vicious cutter that's going to send him straight to the Hall of Fame.
It was hard to see the ball in your hand with the reflection off that ring.
Sorry.
the bling. World champion Didi Gregorius. And the Bob Brenly bobblehead day coming up not too far away. Throwback night. We have a Brenly bobblehead in the booth with us. Got all kinds of toys up here.
The alumni will be back. That's always fun. See the guys again.
Really carves that one foul. This is the BB bobble, along with a Paul Goldschmidt bobblehead that will be featuring later on in the year. But that is a good-looking bobblehead. Right there, look at that, huh? And then I carved this in with a Sharpie, trying to give you the cast on Goldie's hand. Not bad. So that one has been altered. It won't have the cast when they get handed out to all the great D-backs fans.
The Diamondbacks have had great success tonight when swinging at the first pitch against Ventura. 7 times they've chased the first pitch, 4 hits, 1 swing and a miss, and 2 foul balls. And we documented it early in the game. He was just standing out there pumping first pitch fastballs to every hitter first time through the order. Second time through, Diamondbacks kind of figured it out.
And Didi's ahead now, 2-1. Didi Gregorius, 11 hits in his last 9 games, including a double, a triple, and 2 homers. He's got Montero, the tying run at second, Peralta, the go-ahead run at first, and nobody out here in the 6th. 95 chases that one. It's even 2-2. And stirring now in the Kansas City bullpen. Herrera, the righty, downs the lefty. And this is a really good Kansas City bullpen. Didi strikes out. That's 8 strikeouts for Yordano Ventura. 1 down here in the 6th.
Left field, Roger Keatston.
Roger Keeshnick 0 for 2. He has struck out twice. Pitcher spot is due up next for the Diamondbacks, who have 2 on and 1 out, trying to get the offense going now here after the 5th inning. And with a pitcher spot due up next, Josh Colmenter is indeed out there in the on-deck circle. Keeshnick hammers that one foul. 0-1.
Very little question that should Keeshnick reach here.
Come on back, Josh.
Come on back. You see Jordan Pacheco with a bat and helmet. And trailing by a run, you got a chance to possibly do something offensively. You got to take your shot when you get it.
And if you think you might hit for your pitcher, you got to get somebody heating up out there. So Evan Marshall is throwing the Sanderson Ford bullpen. That one is in the seats, and it's 0-2. High above the Diamondback bullpen, the rookie right-hander. Ventura about to throw pitch number 100 on the evening. Does he throw 100 at 100? So far 0-2, usually breaking ball count for him. Well, there it is, 99, misses 1 and 2.
His high on the season is 113. He's done that a couple of times.
100 pitches, 65 for strikes.
looks like he's trying to empty the tank out there. We talked earlier in the ball game about how smooth and fluid his delivery was. The last couple pitches look like he's trying to throw it right through the backstop.
Throwing 101 pitches, 68 of them have been north of 95 miles an hour. 2-2. And inside but missed, and it's full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Miguel Montero tying run at second. David Peralta the go-ahead run at first. Kushnick gets it up in the air, but it's right to Aoki in right. And that's the second out. And Cole Mentor's going to have to go back to the dugout now, and we'll see Jordan Pacheco. Jordan Pacheco doubled and scored a run last night. Ned Yost on the Royals bench reacting accordingly to the pinch hitter. Bullpen has been busy for Kansas City. Ventura had 103 pitches, and Josh Colementer's night will end right here. He gave up only 3 hits. Walked 2, had 6 strikeouts. But the big hit was the Mike Moustakas 2-run homer in the second. So it's Pacheco who's hit in 3 straight and 4 of 5. 2 on, 2 out for the Diamondbacks, trailing 3-2. '97.
.248 on the season for Pacheco. 3 for 9 for the Diamondbacks off the bench as a pinch hitter.
This one is on the ground to short. Escobar the short way for the force on Peralta, and the Diamondbacks have 2 on with nobody out, but they cannot get a run across, and through 6 they trail it 3-2. Matchup, series finale tomorrow. Diamondback Live pregame show starts at 6 here on Fox Sports Arizona. Jeremy Guthrie, the veteran right-hander for the Royals, and Vidal Nuno, the lefty, for the D-backs. El Nuno, which is Spanish for the Nuno.
The Nuno's looking for some better fortune tomorrow. He's actually pitched a lot better than his numbers indicate. Has just been a victim of a lack of run support at times, lack of defense at other times, but he's been a pleasant surprise since the trade with the Yankees.
There's no question he should have a couple of wins. He's pitched pretty well. The numbers on Evan Marshall, rookie right-hander, K-State Wildcat, on for the 35th time this year. The ERA just a smidge over 3.5. Lorenzo Cain leads off the 7th. Cain, Moustakas, Escobar 6, 7, and 8. This is the part of the order that's actually done all the damage. Last night it was the top of the order, the 1 through 4 guys. Well, you've got Cain, who has singled, walked, and scored a run. Moustakas, who has driven in all 3 Royals runs, a homer and a single. And they will be the first 2 batters that Marshall faces here in the 7th.
First 4 hitters are combined 0 for 12 so far tonight after the big night they had last night for the Royals.
And the first 4 hitters all 0 for 3. Cain's had a good series, on base twice last night. A single and a walk, same tonight. Number back to the mound. Marshall got a hurry, and Cain has good speed, but Evan Marshall throws him out. Nicely done by the D-backs rookie.
Nice play by Evan Marshall. That one had disaster written all over it. You get a pitcher bouncing off the mound like this, many times they'll pick it up and fling it down that right field line, but Marshall threw a strike to Mark Trumbo for that out.
Fox Sports Phantom Cam.
Cain way out off the end of the bat. Can't hit it any farther off the end of the bat than that. You'd miss it. Just that little number to the third base side.
Let's see if they can miss the bat of Mike Moustakas tonight. Haven't done so yet. A homer and a single. A guy who came into the ball game 3 for his last 28, but so far 2 for 2. In fact, let's go ahead and make him our top tier player of the game. Brought to you by Arco.
Different story this time around against Evan Marshall, a guy that throws a sinker in the mid-90s. I mentioned his slider speed bat. Smothers that sinker right to Aaron Hill, playing shallow right field for the out.
Right into the shift, and Moustakas is a guy who sees a lot of defensive overshift, but just does not slap the ball the other way. That time he hits right into it.
Shortstop, Alcides Escobar.
There you see the exaggerated pull shift with Aaron Hill playing out in shallow right field. Didi Gregorius way up the middle of the field. Aaron Hill right in the right spot.
I got this. Let me ask you about this, because this was interesting. They asked Moustakas and they asked Ned Yost the same thing. If everyone's going to overshift on him, why doesn't he just slap the ball the other way and knock it into left field? But Moustakas does not do that as Alcides Escobar steps up, because Ned Yost says Moustakas is a left-hand hitter who happens to be a right-hand thrower. And so his strong hand is the lower hand on the bat, so he naturally just pulls everything to right field and really has a tough time going the other way. You ever heard of that? I'm not quite sure if I bought into that.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of right-handed throwing left-handed hitters that can shoot the ball to the opposite field. I mean, it's all in how you approach the ball with that strong, dominant hand.
Well, they're able to retire Moustakas for the first time tonight. In fact, D-backs pitchers Cole Mentor and Marshall have got the first 2 outs in all 7 innings so far. And Marshall a strike away from a 1-2-3 7th. I'm a little nervous. Well, it's bottom 7 coming up. We got Brandon Webb in the booth. He's going to talk pitching grips. Who had a better sinker than Brandon Webb? Answer: nobody.
Nobody.
So we'll talk about that. But we'll also go through the AT&T fan photo. Thumbs up from you down there tonight. Thumbs up from Webby in the booth.
Webby ought to be nervous. I don't know why you're nervous.
I'm nervous for him.
Oh, okay.
I know how tough the committee can be. That one got behind Marshall. Tough play for Hill, and he won't get Escobar, who gets up the line well. Marshall kind of sashayed out of the way of that one. And so we'll see Raul Ibanez hit for Ventura.
Usually pitchers try to get a body part in front of the ball, but that time Evan Marshall got out of the way, hoping one of his middle infielders would get there in time, but just too much speed from Escobar, able to leg it out for an infield single.
You know, we see that all the time. So often we say, well, if the pitcher just hadn't hit the ball, it would have been an easy play for the second baseman. Not often the case. And the overshift is on for Ibanez. Fly out in a pinch hit appearance last night. That snapped a 4-game hit streak. 19 years in the big leagues, 305 home runs. This one is right into the shift. It's by Escobar. Aaron Hill throws him out. And we stretch at Chase. It's a 3-2 ball game. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Coming up, Brandon Webb. We'll talk sinker grips when we return. Joined in our Diamondback broadcast booth by the great sinker baller Brandon Webb. Who better to talk to about pitching grips than you?
I don't know. I don't know where I even came up with these, actually. I mean, it's basically my two-seam fastball, and nobody ever showed it to me. I gripped it, and this is just the way I gripped it. It's a basic two-seam fastball, but it's offset a little bit, just to one side. It's just what felt comfortable to me, and I think that's what pitchers mostly do. You do what feels comfortable, because if not, then it's not going to work for you, I don't think. And then the basic four-seam fastball, which you were talking about, thumb directly under the ball, same as on my two-seam. Kept my thumb right in the middle on the underneath side of the ball, and just always felt like mentally staying on top of the ball for the fastballs and things like that. Change-up grip was a basic circle change, but mine's a little bit different too. I bring the pinky all the way up on the side of the ball, and the curveball and the sinker. Curveball, kind of a basic curveball, but it's across the two seams there. A lot of people throw it like this. Basically the same thing, but you want to get over and pull down on that ball and get a lot of that rotation to make it go downward.
You never mess with a cutter?
It was a hot, it started coming into play whenever I started, getting hurt and things like that. So I tried it a little bit. I just never could get it to go that way. I was so trying to dominate the inside of the baseball. To get the outside of it was a little hard for me.
Kelvin Herrera, the new pitcher for the Royals, as Ender Inciarte leads off the seventh.
To answer your question, every pitcher messes with everything.
Oh, yeah. Knuckleballs.
Yeah, down there on those side session days, you're working, what's this feel like? How's that feel? Can I make the ball do something different if I do this? And, talking amongst yourselves.
Exactly, yeah.
Always 101 there.
Always trying to figure out some other way to get some hitters out. There's always a trendy pitches and things like that, like the cutter was, and always working on stuff.
The Royals can bring in a guy who actually throws harder than Yordano Ventura. That's not fair. Little slapper. This is going to be a quick play here. And Ciarte comes close to beating it out, but Omar Infante has it. What'd you think of Yordano Ventura lighting up the radar guns?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I saw him earlier in the year when he was making his first couple starts. Obviously, the radar gun is what everybody sees at first, and yeah, just electric arm, electric stuff. Smaller guy, kind of a Pedro type guy you guys were talking about, and I think he's going to be good. I think he's still young, 23 years old, and has to figure a few things out, but he's got the stuff to be a super dominant pitcher, I think.
And it more than likely is going to have the same catcher, for years to come. And there's something to be said for that working relationship between a young pitcher and a young catcher.
Yeah, absolutely. You always like to be on the same page, and I'm sure these guys are, and they're going to grow together as a batter, and that's helpful. You feel comfortable with the guy, and you want to stick with him. You never want to change that up.
And Herrera just putting up consistent triple digits on the gun, coming on in relief of Ventura. 1-1 now on Cliff Pennington. Just activated from the DL earlier today. His first game since June the 1st. What happened, Webby? It was interesting in the 4th inning when Josh Colmenter got 2 strikeouts, got Perez, got Butler.
Yeah.
He retired 6 in a row. And then suddenly it seemed like couldn't throw a strike. Walk Gordon, walk Kane, and Gordon ended up coming around to score.
Yeah, that's I don't know. He just lost it. He lost the feel for his. He just couldn't find the strike zone. I don't know what it was.
It just seemed the timing was weird. He just looked to be in absolute control.
Absolutely, yeah. 2 strikeouts. To come off 2 strikeouts and just dominating the inning, and then to walk 2 guys in a row is a little strange, especially for Coleman. He's usually around the plate, doesn't walk a whole lot, and they came back to bite him. You never want to do. You always hear 2 out walks will kill you, and it came back to get him.
That's been the difference. A walk to Gordon, a walk to Kane, then an RBI single by Moustakas, and that broke up the 2-2 tie. Another 100-mile-an-hour pitch. How do you feel about tonight's fan photo? I thought I
really
saw you give
strong.
a big thumbs up. Really strong.
Yeah, really strong.
Wow.
This is it.
That's a confident young man. I like it.
2-2 to Penny.
That's what he used to tell me when I went to the mound to get him. I feel good.
I feel good.
This guy.
Bouncer to second one more time. So let's take a look at our AT&T fan photo as selected by tonight's celebrity guest, Brandon Webb. His status on the Brenly committee hanging by a thread, we're told, and the winner is Drew.
That's a 2-seam grip there.
Yeah,
I like the way you tied that together.
I'm telling you what now.
Tie it all together. Wow. That's nice. That's very nice.
Weave a narrative.
That's got to be. That's a Sanker grip right there.
The purple and teal, the hat, the whole thing.
That's the whole thing right there. I tell you what,
that is really well done. I got to say that's really well done.
Thank you.
You don't get to grade your own photo now. But that was a nice job. Good bounce back. Way to go.
All right.
No varmints to be seen anywhere.
Got away from Herrera, up and in to Aaron Hill. And up and in has been a hot topic, and Aaron's up there talking to himself. Yeah, that's a big bounce back for you, Webby. Big time.
I think so, right?
Solid.
We did do a lot of those. It took a lot of time, and I knew that we were going to be talking about grips and things like that, so it fit right in there. I saw you guys talking about it
now
earlier.
He's lying just like he did when I went to the mound.
It's all about the pregame prep.
That's it, yeah, pregame prep.
1 and 2. Well, you can't argue with the results.
No,
that's for sure.
That's all we care about. Just a rough estimate. About how many photos do you go through on a day before you select one?
On each day, I probably go through 200.
Nice.
Yeah. I got to start a couple hours before the game. Takes a while.
Just like when you pitch, you show up at the ballpark, you get into your routine, you got certain things you have to do to get ready.
Exactly.
200, huh?
200. I gotta have Wi-Fi too. It takes a while. It's got to be high-speed internet.
You are all in on this one. 1-2. Well, fortunately, I have great Wi-Fi here at the ballpark for you. Thanks to all of you who tweeted in your fan photo to Brandon Webb, brought to you by AT&T. I wonder if he heard the discussion about the grips and then sent the photo in. That really would have been something.
See, had Candy been on the hot seat tonight, Tom Candiotti, it wasn't a knuckleball grip, so he would have just disregarded that photo.
Yeah, exactly.
He would have said, "What's that?"
I picked up the two-seam fastball for sure, and the purple. I know you like the purple, so I knew that would get you right in the heart.
Got me somewhere.
Among other things. 3-2, 2 outs. 2-out walk to Aaron Hill. Well, we've got the Cox Gig Life experience here at the ballpark, going on from July 31st to August 10th. Cox Communications showcasing the new 1 gig internet, 100 times faster than broadband. So Diamondbacks players and others will be able to use that here at the ballpark. And what you really tied that in is too. I mean,
well, that's why I have to come to the park to get that super high-speed internet.
Fantastic.
File through those photos really quick.
100 times faster than broadband. Wow. All the resources at hand. Here's Mark Trumbo. 1 for 3, a single in the third. Well, Mark already has 1 hit tonight. He's had 2 hits in 3 of his last 4 games. And needing a 2-out hit here to keep this thing going and try and get that tying run into scoring position for Miguel Montero, who's on deck.
Oh, you'd love to see Trumbo square up one of those 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. That's every hitter's dream. You know, get a guy out there on the mound that thinks he's throwing really hard and catch one right on the button and see how far you can hit it. Rip at that one. 99 up there above the belt.
But we talked about how these guys are throwing 100 and north of that, and yet it looks so effortless.
Yeah, it does. I don't mean what you were saying, talking about it earlier. I thought he was a little herky-jerky and was max effort. And after you said it, I was looking at it, and it was smooth. It definitely was smooth. And
I mean, when you really tried to hump it up, did you almost have to overthrow?
Yeah, and you said that too in the last inning that Ventura was pitching. You can see a couple of the pitches he was overthrowing. You can see his body kind of flailing everywhere, and he's trying to max effort that pitch and blow it by him. And it's tough to pitch like that. That's when he was getting up in the zone a little bit and things like that.
Ball and 2 strikes. 100 miles an hour is the strikeout. They strand the 2-out walk. Well, Brandon Webb, 5 stars. Excellent job.
Thank you, guys.
BB?
Oh, yeah. Great job. Great job.
You're in.
Yes.
And by Cox Communications. Bundle and save with Cox. 3-2 as we go to the 8th here in downtown Phoenix. Fans Saturday, MLB on Fox Sports 1 is back. It's a doubleheader as the Yankees square off with the Indians, followed by the Cardinals and the Orioles. Coverage begins Saturday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Marichka Aoki will lead off the inning, and we're going to get a second inning here out of Brandon Marshall, who has, well, he only threw 11 pitches in that 7th, so see if he can get a quick couple of outs here to start the 8th. Aoki so far 0 for 3. Love that BB bobblehead sign behind home plate. It's everywhere here in the ballpark. It's going to be a big night.
It's distracting to the defense.
I mean, look at that. Looks great back there. Brought to us by our friends at Sanderson Ford.
I could talk to the on-deck hitters and distract them. Hey, Oma.
Aoki slaps that one to second. Backhand scoop by Aaron Hill. Well, there's no question that Doc Rosenblatt has turned in our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. Look at this rocket off the bat of Roger Kieschnick, and there is Doc.
Boy, earlier this season, Doc was all offense, no defense, but he's worked really hard with Dave McKay and made a great play on that hooking line drive.
Those defensive metrics have really improved. So the Mountain Gregor Carr down the left field line has his work cut out for him to keep pace with Doc. Here's Omar Infante 0 for 3. That's going to be out of play. Center field, Ender and Ciarte in front of the track. 2 down. Well, that's 2 outs on 6 pitches for Marshall out there for a second inning of work. And now with 2 down, they'll work to Salvador Perez, who is 0 for 3. He struck out his last 2 times up. D-backs have doubled up the Royals in the hit column. They've out-hit Kansas City 8-4, but trail it 3-2. 0-1 misses up and in, a ball and a strike. Well, the Mountain down there can't really make a play. They got some very active fans along that third baseline. So Gregor Carr still ready, though. Salvador Perez is a big dude up there. 6'3", 240. Talk about the mountain.
A rare combination. An offensive catcher who's really good defensively as well. Usually you don't get the entire package in one guy.
Chases that one in the dirt. Evan Marshall out there for a second inning of work. Works a 1-2-3-8. Perez strikes out for the third time tonight. And we go to the home half of the eighth. Diamondbacks trail it 3-2. At Chase Field this weekend, it's the D-backs and the Rockies, and when you buy your tickets, why not get the most bang for your buck? Make it a D-backs value pack. That'll get you your bleacher ticket, a hot dog or a Subway sandwich, a regular Pepsi, and a coupon for a free cookie, and you get all that for only $21. So make it a value pack. Get your tickets at dbacks.com/value, and we'll see you here this weekend. This is a really good Royals bullpen, and here's another part of it. It's former Tampa Bay Rays starter Wade Davis. He has been outstanding lately. Look at this, 45 appearances and an ERA under 1.
47 in the third innings pitched, 73 strikeouts. This guy's a soft tosser. He only averages 95 on his fastball.
He has not been scored upon in his last 14 outings, and Miguel Montero takes a big swing and a miss to lead off the Arizona eighth inning. Gerard Dyson replaces Lorenzo Cain in center, and Cain moves over to right field, replacing Norichika Aoki. Miggy's 2 for 3, a double in the second. He singled his last time up. Montero, Peralta, Gregorius 5, 6, and 7. And the rookie right-hander. This time it's Matt Stites warming up in the Sanderson Ford bullpen.
When you say it's a strong tail end of this bullpen, you are not kidding. Davis is unbelievable since the end of April. Since April 26th, 35 ball games, he's given up 1 earned run in 37 innings.
Bounced in the hole. Tough play for Escobar. Montero beats it out. Miggy's third hit tonight. Tying runs aboard to open up the eighth.
This time he decides not to try to overpower that fastball. Hits the little grounder to the left side. Escobar had some trouble getting it out of his glove, allowing Miggy to beat that one out for a base hit.
You know, Miggy's not a 100-mile-an-hour fastball going up that line, but he just beats it by half a step. And now they will take Montero out of the game. He's the tying run, so Nick Ahmed will run for the catcher. David Peralta, 2 for 3, a pair of singles. He's got an RBI. You're talking about the bullpen for the Royals, Bob. We've seen Herrera throwing 101, getting a look at Davis, who's barely given up a run all year. They have at the very back end a closer that a lot of people will tell you might quietly be the best in the business in Greg Holland. A lot of people like that guy. Tied for the American League lead with 31 saves.
In 33 attempts.
The guy you don't hear a lot about, but he has been outstanding. And so if it stays 3-2, you might see Holland, but hopefully the Diamondbacks knocking on the door here can get that tying run across. I saw Crow and Frazier last night. A ball and a strike to David Peralta. Addison Reed now warming up for the Diamondbacks. Along the left field line near the seats, might be playable, and it is from Moustakas. One out, here's Didi. Didi walked his first time up tonight. He is grounded out and struck out 0 for 2. Didi back on June 24th, hitting under 200 for the year, but since then he has really picked it up. Last 25 games, hitting just about 290.
The Royals don't expect Didi to be able to pull Davis. You can see Dyson out there in center field, probably 25 or 30 feet away from the straightaway position toward the gap in left center. Alex Gordon playing shallow and over toward the line in left field. And Lorenzo Cain in right playing straight away, a big gap in right center field.
2-1. Yeah, if he can get it to right center field, decent chance that Nick Ahmed can come all the way in and tie this thing up. Look at all that room out there. One is in the air to shortstop, an easy play for Escobar, and quickly 2 outs.
Left field, Roger Kieschnick.
Here's Roger Kieschnick, so far 0 for 3. He struck out twice. Pitcher spot is due up next. Tuffy Gozawish is in the on-deck circle. Should Kieschnick reach? Roger 0 for 8 with 6 strikeouts since rejoining the team from Reno on trade deadline day last week. Slaps it the other way, and it drops in for a base hit. Ahmed stops at second. 2-out single for Kieschnick. And now the tying run is in scoring position. Go ahead, run at first.
He's right on that pitch, down low and away. Just kind of flips it toward the left field line, putting runners at first and second. Now we're going to see Tuffy Gozawish take the at-bat in the pitcher spot here. He's got to come into the ball game to play defensively anyhow. Kirk Gibson's going to go ahead and use him as the pinch hitter in this situation.
Tuffy 246 on the year. He's got 1 homer. That was April 22nd in Wrigley Field, his first major league home run. Nick Ahmed is the tying run at second. Roger Kieschnick the go-ahead run at first. 2 outs for Tuffy. Tuffy Gozawish last 19 games, 15 of those starts, has hit just under 290. Last year we saw Tuffy and how good he is defensively, but he's been much more of an offensive player this year. Looking for a base hit here to tie the ball game. And hold up, and it's 0-2.
Such a tough pitch to lay off of. You see that four-seam fastball up in the zone. It looks so inviting, but at 97, it's real tough to catch up to that pitch up above the belt.
Wade Davis, this guy's a tough cookie. Opponent's batting only 124 against him this year. That is the lowest opponent batting average in the major leagues among pitchers who have worked at least 30 innings. He's got 2 on, 2 out, an 0-2 count to Tuffy Gozawish. Funny, this is a guy that used to struggle to keep a rotation spot in Tampa Bay on Joe Madden's Rays team, but since he's come over here in the trade that brought James Shields to Kansas City, he's been a very effective reliever.
He's been repurposed. You know, you got a guy that has a good arm and shows flashes of that great fastball as a starting pitcher, but maybe shows fatigue or loses the zone. Hey, let's put him in the bullpen. Just let him flame on. Throw as hard as you can, as long as you can.
Tuffy just barely does stay alive there.
Breaking ball that time from Davis. Starts out with the four-seam fastball grip, which is the pitch he throws most often.
Called strike 3. Dana DeMuth rings up Gozawish. Diamondbacks strand 2. They have now stranded 10 in the ball game, and we go to the ninth. They trail it 3-2. Earlier tonight, the Diamondback fan throwing back the Moustakas home run ball. Last night, kind of the same thing happened in Cleveland. The Reds and the Indians. Look at this. Jay Bruce going back on the ball. An errant throw from the bullpen gets on the field. Suddenly there are 2 baseballs on the field. What's the deal with that?
Well, as you can imagine, Daniel Murphy was confused over there at third base, ends up getting picked off. There's 2 balls on the field. Second baseman had one. The other one was rolling across the diamond. What are you supposed to do as a runner?
Now watch, one is in play. The other comes in from the bullpen right there over the head of Jay Bruce in right field. That's no ball. We want a real ball. And they're both right there in the same shot. You heard of the hidden ball trick? Well, that's a different take on that. Here's Matt Stites on to work the ninth. He has worked 3 straight scoreless outings now. His 18th appearance of the year. He has held the opposition scoreless in 8 of his last 9 appearances here at Chase Field. So if he Gozawish stays in the game, takes over for Miguel Montero behind the plate. Billy Butler, Alex Gordon, and Lorenzo Cain 4, 5, and 6 in the Royals' ninth. There's the strike, 0-1. Butler so far after his big night last night is 0 for 3.
That was one of our keys to the game, to control those first 4 hitters in the Royals lineup, and the Diamondbacks have done an outstanding job tonight stifling those 4 guys at the top.
So far the top 4 guys here are 0 for 15.
This one's going to rattle the bird cage. Oof. Which is the very bottom of that hockey mask, and then ricochets into his throwing hand.
So he just kind of dropped his head like, really? I just came into the game.
Hello.
There's that front foot of Matt Stites, which is always interesting. Sometimes he does that charging bull routine, other times not so much. Kind of scrape at the dirt with that front foot. There it is. This is well hit right center field. Ender Inciarte can't make the catch, and it's off the wall, and Butler is in at second with his 23rd double. And the umpires are going to get together here. It's a quick conference. It's off the wall.
Fastball outer third. Big strong country breakfast gives it a ride off the glove and then off the wall. Fortunately, David Peralta right there to back it up. Inciarte tracking that ball all the way to the fence, just misses.
in position to play the carom. Butler a leadoff double. Here's Alex Gordon. He walked and scored in the fourth, 0 for 2. See, Gordon only 9 home runs. The power's been down a little bit this year. Part of that has been due to a wrist injury that kept him from playing in the All-Star game. That one hit him, and Gordon will take first base.
See, they want it in. That ball just runs in a little bit too far, and Tuffy takes another one, this time in the rib cage as he's reaching across to backhand that pitch.
And so far, Matt Stites a double and a hit batter. 2 on, nobody out, and here's Lorenzo Cain. Diamondback infield going to get together and figure out what everybody's doing as the phone rings down in the Arizona bullpen.
A potential bunt situation. Everybody just wants to make sure they're on the same page. You got Mark Trumbo, who hasn't played a lot of first base this season for the Diamondbacks. You got Cliff Pennington fresh off the disabled list. So as they went through the bunt defense signs, Aaron Hill thought it would be best to go to the mound, make sure everybody knew what was going on, and now Mike Harkey's going to do the same.
They're going in full slowdown mode here as they very quickly get Oliver Perez up and throwing in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. You've got Moustakas, who's got 2 hits tonight, including a home run due up after Cain. And so the left-hander is heating up down there. So this might be Stites' last batter regardless here. Billy Butler on second after a leadoff double. Alex Gordon hit by a pitch, stands at first. Nobody out, and here's Cain. Singled and scored in the second, walked in the fourth. He's 1 for 2. Corners in on the grass. Trumbo about 4 or 5 steps in at first base.
No sign of a bunt that time from Cain. And with Billy Butler running at second base, it has to be better than a perfect bunt to advance him on to third base. I think Ned Yost figures that we got a better chance to advance him if we just let Cain swing away here.
And swing away he does. It sends Inciarte back to the track in center field. Butler will tag and hit for third. And now with Moustakas coming up, we'll see if Oliver Perez gets the call.
They were able to advance Butler 90 feet on that fly ball to center field, but the runner from first, Alex Gordon, not able to advance, so the double play still in order here. Looking for that ground ball.
We've got the left hand hitting Moustakas up. The right hander Alcides Escobar is behind him. Butler stands at third, and Gordon's over there at first. And now the slowdown game is on, and indeed, Kurt Gibson will go to the bullpen and bring in his left hander to face Moustakas. Royals lead it 3-2 in the ninth. They have runners on the corners with 1 out. Pitching change back after this. every history-making moment. It's MLB Whip Around. We'll have it all for you weeknights at 7 on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Chase Field, 3-2 in the ninth. Orioles threatening to add on to their one-run lead here. With a one out, they have runners on their corners. And the new pitcher for the D-backs, the left-hander, it's Oliver Perez. Brought in to face the left-hand hitting Mike Moustakas. Not a whole lot of options, Bob, for Ned Yost on that bench down there.
No, not really. He's got his backup catcher, and also he has an infielder, Christian Colon, available to pinch hit from the right side of the plate. I mean, you'd like to send a right-handed pinch hitter up there, I'm sure. Moustakas hitting .206 against righties this year, only .120 against lefties.
48th appearance of the year for Oliver Perez, an excellent 1.87 ERA. He inherits a little bit of a mess here in the ninth. Billy Butler is on third after a leadoff double. Alex Gordon, who was hit by a pitch, stands at first. And Moustakas is in there with one out. He homered in the second, a two-run shot, a single in the fourth. He has driven in all three Royals runs. .120 against left-hand pitching. There's a strike, 1-1. This is a guy, Mike Moustakas, who opened the year in a 4-for-40 slump. Average dip below $150. Went to the minor leagues for a brief period in the middle of the summer. Came into the ball game tonight, just 3 for his last 28, but he's got 2 hits. Jam shot, pop-up foul. It's 1-2. This was Mike Moustakas against Josh Colmenter with 2 outs in the second.
There's a fastball down over the middle of the plate. Moustakas barreled it up, got it over that fence in right field. It came back as quickly as it went out.
It did, and almost as far. To second, Hill, Didi, they get the double play. Butler came across to score, but Tony Randazzo, the first base umpire, says that Moustakas is out, sliding headfirst into first, and here's Ned Yost.
It looked like he was safe at first base, puzzling why he's sliding head first into first base. Yeah, he clearly beat that relay throw.
Yeah, that's not even close.
That ball took a funny hop off the bat.
Kansas City is challenging the call, and we are on the headsets to New York. You remember this, if they overturn the call, and it looks like they will, Butler scores from third.
Yeah, the run scores. Yeah, Aaron Hill was maybe even moving a little bit to his right initially and ends up diving back to his left. I'm not sure if that ball had a lot of side English or what happened, but took a great play just to keep that ball from going into right field.
Yeah, this is a pretty quick review here, and the call is safe at first. Overturned on the field, the run scores, and now it's 4-2 Kansas City. Is replay working? Well, I can tell you that 415 calls reviewed this year have been overturned. 415. So now it's a 4-2 ball game. Moustakas is the runner at first, 2 outs, and Alcides Escobar steps in. Reaches down and sends that out into right. Peralta tracks it down, and that's the inning. But the Royals add one more. And we head to the bottom of the ninth at Chase Field. D-backs trail it 4-2. Diamondbacks looking for some more moments here as we start the bottom of the ninth inning, trailing the Royals 4-2. And here is the closer, one of the best in the business. It's Greg Holland. Royals have had a tradition of great closers. Jeff Montgomery, Dan Quisenberry, Joaquin Soria. Well, this guy is the latest, 31 for 33 in save opportunities this year as Ender Inciarte tries to bunt for a base hit, but it's foul.
Yeah, fastball slider combination. As you get a look at our Gila River Casinos game summary, Moustakas has done all the damage offensively for the Royals tonight, and the Diamondbacks offense, 10 men left on base.
D-backs have doubled up the Royals in a hit column 10-5, but they trail it 4-2. And now they have to deal with Greg Holland, tied for the American League lead in saves with 31. In fact, if you go back since the start of last season for Greg Holland, 78 for 83 in save conversions. That's pretty good. 94%. Looking for a base runner, slaps it in the hole, and Escobar makes a terrific play to throw him out. Alcides Escobar at short.
Earlier in the game on a similar play, he had trouble getting the ball out of his glove, and Miguel Montero was able to leg it out for an infield hit, but no problems this time for Escobar. Nice play, strong throw.
Very strong defender down there. I like the idea by Ender, just kind of slap it into left to get a base runner, but it's the first out here in the ninth. That brings up Cliff Pennington. Penny 1 for 4, a single in the first. Activated earlier today off the DL from that thumb injury. His first game since June the 1st. Cliff played 9 rehab games, both with AAA Reno and the D-backs rookie league team. 4 games with Reno. He had 5 hits and 13 at bats. Chops that one the other way, and it drops in for a 1-out single. Diamondbacks will get the tying run to the plate with 1 out here in the ninth. Our APS Energy All-Stars so far through 2 games. It's Danny Duffy and Yordano Ventura. 11 innings of work. They have given up just 3 runs.
And both very impressive. We were told that the Royals' top end of their rotation and the tail end of their bullpen can match up with anybody, and certainly you'd have to agree with that, what we've seen the first 2 days here.
It's a good rotation. You've seen Duffy and you've seen Ventura. James Shields has been terrific. Jeremy Guthrie goes tomorrow against Fidel Nunez. Here's Aaron Hill. There's a strike 0-1. Aaron Hill, an RBI single. He scored a run in the 3rd. Walked his last time up, 1 for 3. Up and in, 96. Aaron Hill has had a couple of these pitches up and in this ball game tonight.
Turns out of the way properly. I guess after you've been hit on the hand often enough, you learn how to get out of the way of those inside pitches, turn away from them.
That's been a hot topic, obviously, around here lately. 1-1 now. There's a strike, 1-2.
As you can see, Holland really falls off to that first base side of the mound. He kind of strides toward home plate, but then his landing area is to the left. He kind of falls way to the first base side on that slider.
It almost looks like he's falling over.
Something to think about for the guys that can bunt, although I don't know how much more we're going to see Greg Holland this summer, but
that one is going to get down in left center, and Cliff Pennington heads for 3rd. Diamondbacks with a threat here in the home half of the 9th, tying runs aboard. Aaron Hill aboard for the 3rd time tonight.
Look at that slider again. This one just kind of spun up there in the middle of the plate. Didn't really take much of a break. Right on the button from Aaron Hill, driving that ball into the gap in left center field, far enough to allow Penny to advance on to 3rd base.
Well, we talked about Mark Trumbo perhaps barreling up a Ventura fastball. Well, he does that to Holland. We're walking off right here. Took something off, 85 miles an hour, and it's 0-1.
Yeah, Holland throws hard, but he'll throw as many sliders as he does fastballs. On the season, about 53% fastballs, 45% sliders. Here comes another slider. Slider has a lot of downward movement.
He had to reach way down to get a piece of that one. Does have 4 career walk-off homers. Mark's last home run April 21st at Wrigley Field. That was the last game he played before the foot injury. Here's the 0-2. Mark Trumbo, fly ball left field. Pennington's at 3rd. Gordon has it. Penny tags, throws into 2nd, and it's a 1-run ball game.
Boy, it looked good coming off the bat. Just didn't have that distinctive crack you like to hear. It hit out near the end of the bat just enough to take some sting off of it. Turns it into a sac fly instead of a game-winning homer.
So the D-backs get a run in. The tying run is still at first. Now 2 outs. And Andy Marte will step in. This is the pitcher's spot here after the double switch. Marte 0 for 4 with a pair of strikeouts in last night's series opener. 3 hits and 3 RBIs so far as a D-back, and including that home run in his first D-backs at bat.
Only one previous plate appearance for Marte against Holland. That ended up in a base on balls. And when you don't have a lot of past history against pitchers on the opposing team, you'll take any edge you can get, and one at bat working a walk makes Marte the guy for this job.
1-1 is chopped foul behind Glenn Sherlock. Diamondbacks down to their last strike. One ball and 2 strikes to Andy Marte. For a big guy back there, Bob, Perez moves around really well.
I was thinking the same thing. 6'3", 240, and moves like a cat back there. Very quick.
I've seen big catchers succeed before him. Lance Parrish and Carlton Fisk, guys like that. But usually the really athletic ones are the smaller Yadier Molina types.
Square bodies. 6 foot 205. You know, they all look the same. They look square.
Like a mailbox with feet. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Tying run at first. It's full, 3-2. David Peralta would be next. Aaron Hill off with a pitch from first, and Marte strikes out. That's the ball game. Greg Holland hangs on, his 32nd save of the year. He's now 1 shy of 100 for his career, and the Royals have taken the first 2 games of this 3-game set. They win this one 4-3.
Oh, for the timely hit. This is a crisp, well-played ball game tonight. Diamondbacks just could not come up with that big hit with runners in scoring position when they needed it the most.
Diamondbacks out-hit the Royals 12-5, but they dropped the ball game 4-3, and will go for the series finale tomorrow night here on Fox Sports Arizona. For now, let's start Diamondbacks Live. Brandon Webb is out in center field with Jody Jackson. Jody.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, Brandon, I think really, Steve